Hey guys, SpeedMX here, and we're getting ready to start a new build. This is the Tamiya Tundra high lift kit. As you see, this box is pretty massive. It's been taking up space in my room for about a year now. I've always wanted to do this kit, so we're going to head and do it. There won't be any unboxing really. I've already had it open, looked it over, and it's kind of disheveled inside the box, so get it open. You can see there's all the stuff. Tinted windows, box of screws. Alrighty, I'm just going to set the box aside and slowly start putting it together, so give me a couple minutes to rearrange everything, and we'll get the book out and we'll start at step one. Alright guys, be right back. Alright guys, we are back, and as you can see, I've got everything set up and opened up and going. Step one actually has us starting to assemble the transmission. We're going to go ahead and start with our long shaft that is threaded. Make sure you're paying attention because there's another long one that isn't threaded. So just make sure you get the one that's threaded. And in the bag there's all your gears. So if you follow your picture, you want to make sure that you're putting your E-clips on first, on the inside of this ring here and the inside of this ring here. E-clips are always fun, so keep a pair of pliers around if you can. There's E-clip tools out there too that are super helpful if you have access to them. But we'll just lock these in like so, and then we'll drop our first gear on there, and then our big aluminum gear goes on like that. Once the gears are on, you're going to put another E-clip to lock it in place. Like so. Now these gears are going to be brass, so just be real careful. This one is aluminum, but this one's probably brass. So just be careful, you don't want to mar it up. You don't want to mar the teeth up when you're putting the pliers on. So it has us put two E-clips on there, and then it also has us put one more in this front notch that's close to the threaded end of the shaft. So now that we got those on, we're going to put one more here. So the best part about doing these is the E-clips, man. They're so difficult at times. So one more there, and then it has us putting this brass hex nut into one of the plastic gears onto the shaft. Now there's two bags of plastic gears. One looks like this, one looks like this, and inside both those plastic bags are a gear that look like this and a gear that look like this. One of them is a 23 tooth and one of them is a 27 tooth. This one's actually calling for the 27 tooth. So just be aware that when you're doing it, you count your gears or your teeth on the gear if you're not entirely sure. It'll help narrow down the available pieces. So that just goes in like so. Make sure that you are putting the collared end of the gear or the hex drive inside the plastic, so it kind of gives it an edge there, and then it slides on with these three little bumps. It's gonna be hard to see, but there's three little bumps towards the gear, and the hex piece comes out like that. And then you get your last lock ring or your last E-clip on there. Like so. That is one of your shafts. So your next shaft It's going to be this guy here. So give me a second. I'm going to get this side of the table set up and we'll start on our next shaft. We'll be right back, alright guys? Alright YouTube, we are back at it again building our Toyota Tundra high lift kit from Tamiya. Now I've just been running into all kinds of technical issues. My memory card died. I lost a bunch of the videos that I'd already done. I've taken a bit of it apart so I can show you where I'm at and what's going on. So right here you can see I've already got the transmission together. When building this, you got to just make sure that you're using bushings on this slide right here. Use the factory bushings. I switched everything out to bearings otherwise. They're just using the Traxxas 5116s. And then when you're putting your plates together, just make sure your nubs are facing the right direction. But this is basically your transmission and how it's going to end looking. So that's a cover that will go on and cover the spur gear and the pinion. And those are just going to get a couple of these BA2s and just lock in pretty simple. I'm using a drill. I'm totally cheating. So there's 2 more screws down here. We'll put those in and we'll flip it over and we'll show the four-wheel drive aspect of the transmission. Alright, so we'll flip it over. On this back side now, what's different than the King Hauler kit is that there's actually a transfer case on this guy here, which goes together like this. Like so. And then it gets a cover with a couple more bearings that just slides on like that. Now these 2 upper holes are going to get the shorter screws. Which are BA2s. If I get them lined up properly. You just want to make sure you're putting the shorter ones up here because you don't want to run into any clearance issues with the gears. My bit's a bit magnetic, so it pulls it out sometimes. So. Alrighty. And then we're going to put a couple of the longer ones in the next 2 holes, which actually go into these rods. Okay, and then the bottom 2 just get a couple more BA2s. Oh, I'm missing one, so put that together. And that's like that, and then this case just goes on like this. Just kind of slides in there. Make sure you put this, there's a plate. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but there's a plate right here. Make sure you get that plate in first. And then your case just slides together like that. And then it gets 3 screws. It's going to be incredibly difficult. Okay, well, it's 2 screws here in the center. Let's put these 2 in. This is what happens when you lose a memory card. You have to take everything apart and redo it. And it's not quite as easy to take those E-clips out that hold everything together we discussed in the first video. So I just didn't do that. Luckily I did get that first video saved. Alright. So I'm just going to put this one in for now. Kind of get everything situated, and then I'm going to start the next step. Alrighty, well, maybe not. Anyway, so there's a couple screws here and a screw up top. I'm going to fight with those in a second, off camera. And then I'll prep for the next set of steps, which is attaching the transmission and building the frame out. So give me just a second, we'll be right back and we'll wrap this up and we'll get the frame going. Alright, be right back.